French brand Dupont is best known as the manufacturer of luxury lighters and writing instruments. But this channel wouldn't be of much use if during another trip to Korea we didn't come across this wonderful pair of leather sneakers from the very same brand. Yes, on the brand's official website, apart from pants, lighters, and leather accessories, you wouldn't find any mention of footwear, and yet it exists. My name is Anastasia, and today I want to share detailed feedback on these Dupont leather sneakers after an almost 2 years of real life wear. Since there were no shoes on the website, and here you are standing in Seoul in Shinshinga Mall holding these sneakers, we dug deeper and found out that the brand itself is not directly involved in making the shoes. This isn't some French workshop where lighters are made in one section and leather shoes are stitched in the next. Not at all. In reality, Dupont sold a license to use its name for the production of other goods, in this case leather sneakers. That means Dupont itself does not design, manufacture, or directly control this pair. There is another manufacturer that pays for the right to put the logo on. Legally and reputation-wise, the brand is still responsible for quality, but physically it's a completely different production chain. So sneakers with Dupont logo and 1000 euros Dupont lighter are things that share a name, but have very different biographies. Now, speaking of the sneakers, designed in France, made in Italy, they serve their owner well, a solid 8 out of 10. The score reflects the whole experience, starting with the leather quality and ending with how they feel on foot. At first glance, these sneakers are in pretty decent shape after 2 years of wear. The leather has held up nicely and even developed a distinguished patina. The rubber is cuffed around the toe area, the Achilles heel hasn't worn through, and the only real sign of use are some dust and frayed laces, which is pretty impressive given the thousands of kilometers they are covered across different countries and terrains. As you can see for yourself, they held up reasonably well, but there are a few buts that keep them from a perfect 10. First, durability isn't great. The heel counter and the sole right under the heel wore down quickly within the first year. For comparison, the Canale shoes, which I have also reviewed on this channel, had no such issues over the same period. And there were also those Suede Santoni sneakers that went through mud, factory tours, and all kinds of hard adventures over 5 years. They never needed sole reinforcement or even repaint. They were practically indestructible. Sadly, they are lost now. I'm only saying this to highlight that Dupont still has room to grow. Second, the sole turned orangish over time. To be fair, with the brown layer upper, it's not a disaster, but it definitely spoiled the impression. Third, the stitching is starting to come apart in the flex area. That's really unpleasant. They're going to need the cobbler again, and that would be the second time. It may seem that these fundamental flaws are outright fatal, and someone would be surprised that I'm reviewing them with such a positive outlook. But the reason is simple: this pair hasn't fallen apart, and these issues only surfaced after a pretty long time, not because of cost-cutting in manufacturing. What we are looking at are simply a few oversights that nobody anticipated, and with feedback like this, the brand could easily address them in an updated version. And honestly, they fully paid for themselves emotionally and functionally. They're the most comfortable pair in the owner's arsenal, right next to a pair of Isaiah shoes, which, by the way, will be reviewed soon on the channel. Actually, 2 pairs of Isaiah shoes, so get ready. Now, whoever is behind the production of Dupont footwear, I strongly recommend focusing on improving durability and reinforcing the sole, and also addressing the yellow issue. Fix these flaws, and this is 100 out of 10. Truly great footwear. And it wouldn't be me if I didn't suggest continue this video in the form of cleaning and care session for today's specimen. Because proper care is one of the keys to strengthening the longevity gene of your belongings. Nothing too complicated today, just a Crème Universelle from Saphir. I'll show you how one product does it all, cleaning and conditioning at the same time. And we all know we don't clean leather with water, right? If you already got a basin of water ready, go watch my video where I clean an all-sense weight jacket. I even added an animation showing how water damages and distorts the surface of leather goods, made by myself. For those already familiar with these details, let's move on to the process. For today we will need Crème Universelle by Saphir, a soft bristle brush, ideally horsehair, some ordinary bar soap, and a sponge. To start, let's remove the laces. We'll replacing them with new ones later, since these are already worn out and have seen better days. Next, take a soft brush and gently go over the surface to remove any superficial dirt like dust, as well as small pebbles and sand grains embedded in the sole. Now let's move on to the sole. Apply some soap to a slightly damp sponge and scrub the rubber surface in circular motions. Then rinse off the soap with a clean, damp sponge. If needed, repeat with the soapy sponge until the area is clean. I removed as much grime as I could, even picked out some stubborn little stones that were wedged into the thread, but when it came to the yellowish discoloration on the sole, it proved impossible to remove. Neither various chemical solutions, nor even a professional shoe repair shop could fix it. So I left the soles as they were, and now we move on to the leather. For convenience, you can stuff the inside with paper, as I did earlier, or use shoe trees if you had them. This makes applying the cream and buffing the leather much easier. I'll skip ahead a bit here. The camera refused to focus on the shoes and I didn't want to torture your eyes with blurry footage. In any case, take a lint-free cloth, apply a small amount of cream and spread it over the leather. You can also apply the cream directly onto the shoe and then work it in with the cloth. Make sure to treat the entire surface thoroughly and let the product sit for a few minutes to absorb. Here's what the shoes look like at this intermediate stage, with the cream applied but not yet buffed. Now for the buffing stage. Take a dry, lint-free cloth and buff the entire leather surface using brisk, warming motions. The shine doesn't come from the cream itself, it comes from the buffing process. The cream contains waxes, beeswax and carnauba wax. When you apply the cream, the waxes go on as a dual, uneven layer. During energetic buffing with a horsehair brush or a soft cloth, the friction generates heat, which temporarily melts the waxes. They then flow into a smooth, even film across the surface. Cool down, harden, and start reflecting light, and that's your shine. Without buffing, the leather will remain matte, never allowing it to reveal itself in all its glory. We'll follow the exact same procedure for the second one. I had to cut some footage here because the camera keeps struggling with focus. And here they are, our beauties. All that's left is to lace them up and let them rest a little before they re-enter the scene, refreshed and irresistible. Since the original laces were beyond saving, we picked up a more refined and fitting replacement, waxes laces in a shade that closely match the leather. They make the sneakers look considerably more elegant. And now, compare the results, before and after. This is a perfect illustration of how shoes that endure daily wear and tear can be completely transformed with proper care, ready to conquer new heights alongside you with ease and dignity. So that's it for today. I hope this short review opened up the world of Dupont footwear for you and highlighted all the important details discovered during the wear. Either way, a lot of effort went into this pair because every time the owner puts them on, he admires how comfortably they are, and that comfort overshadows the other flaws. But still, I hope the manufacturer takes those flaws into account. I also hope this video didn't leave you indifferent. If you raised any questions, don't hesitate to ask. For now, my name is Anastasia, and I'll see you very soon.